Yo guys, it's your boy Tiny Messiah. So today how many times do you mess up your intro on like an average video?
Sometimes it's one smooth take, other times it's just 35.
Yeah bro, it's so bad. Alright. What's up guys, it's your boy Tiny Messiah. So today we are with
me,
David.
my name is David.
Yep. Where are you from, sir?
I am from the United States, New Jersey.
To be exact.
Visiting the UK.
Today basically what we're doing, we're going to do a little Q&A. You guys have sent questions on Instagram. We are in a hotel right now because we're going to be filming... Well, what are we filming tomorrow?
We're filming a Gymshark video. It's like a campaign for this powerlifting line called 315. It's a pretty clever name, so I'm not going to give any spoilers, but we're going to get Matt involved in it as well, and the three of us, we're going to make some magic.
Anywho, we're going to get to the questions. No, don't do the random... Oh, okay, what's it? Let's go. We're going to have to... We cannot do the random because... This is rough, bro. This is so rough. Hold on.
Well, that sums up the Q&A.
Yeah,
Your questions suck. Do better next time. We're out. How's your degree going so far? Any advice for future students who want to do sports science? Well, first, before maybe even answering that question specifically, just tell everyone how you're going to drop out of school from James English's lifestyle.
Sports science is great. It's a good degree. It's interesting if you're interested in that area. You get like knowledge of the body, sports psychology.
But my question would be like, are you coaching yourself in terms of powerlifting?
Oh yeah, I'm coaching myself.
So, and how did you educate yourself?
Bro, just watching a million YouTube videos when I was like 16. When I was 16, I could have got like an honorary PhD in like lifting.
I just like point to the bag. He goes like exactly what anatomy it is.
Bro, when I was 16, yeah, you could not tell me like, bro. When I was 16, I knew so much. I was so, I don't know, just wrapped up in fitness and stuff. That's all I wanted to watch all day. That's what I just research. So over time, you build up the knowledge, and yeah, you build up the knowledge over time. But to be fair, I should have a coach. But the thing is, I didn't want to take powerlifting that seriously. Like, I like powerlifting, but it was more of a hobby. It's not something I wanted to do like full time. So,
but since taking sports science in school, do you feel like a lot of the stuff that you're learning is kind of like overlap with things that you already kind of mastered when you were 16, or are there like some new things that you've learned specifically within the domain of sports science that you feel like is like applicable and useful to you and any form of powerlifting goals?
Yeah, so the main one would be the sports psychology module I just started. So that one like delves into a lot of sports phenomena which you would have experienced as someone who does sports, but you don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. So like there's loads of different ones, but it's really interesting how it breaks it down, the reasons why and how to deal with it. That is the main thing that I found helpful, more the psychology aspect, more than the...
Look how so, like what would be like...
Okay, so there's one called, like in terms of like how much arousal or anxiety affects performance, there's different like theories. So there's one called the inverted U, so like the midpoint in terms of anxiety arousal is the optimum. Anything above or below that is like suboptimal. Catastrophe hypothesis was like, there's loads of different ones, but basically, okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say you're doing a lift, if you were doing a competition, right? And then you were going to focus on every aspect of the lift, right? And then you might like, mess it up, right? Basically, one of those is when you try to walk yourself through a behavior that's already automated, you can actually mess it up, because if it's automated, then your body's going to do it naturally, but you trying to think through every single step can actually mess it up. And I've found that sometimes when I've gone for like a PR, I'll try to like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I actually mess up. Whereas if I was just to forget about it, trust my instincts, I would actually do better. So that's one of them. So that I found interesting.
Interesting.
More than the actual like anatomy stuff, that is actually good. I feel like you'd like it.
I mean, yeah, that does sound more interesting.
Yeah.
Because yeah, psychological things in general are just...
How did you gain your knowledge when you were...
I mean, honestly, pretty much the same way as you, just like YouTube. I feel like you can learn so much like on the internet nowadays. And I feel like, you know, even before I got into fitness, there was maybe more so like bro science-ish kind of stuff. And I feel like when I was getting more into it, at least online, the whole community was transitioning into much more of like a scientific proven approach. Yeah. Like if it fits your macros, it's starting to become like more common, more understood, and all that type of thing. You know, periodization, you know, programming, and all that type of stuff. But nowadays, I feel like it's just like the norm. Most people that kind of like get into it, like
they understand calories in, calories out. They understand
progressive overload and all that. Yeah,
and that stuff was just not common knowledge in like 20 2013 YouTube fitness. It wasn't.
Yeah, 2013. Like if you had some of that knowledge, you had like secret information.
Yeah,
you were just like you had classified info.
Yeah,
But now it's just like
declassified. 12-year-olds know what progressive overload is.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about working with Gymshark?
The people behind the brand are really, really, really fun to be with, and not like just the athletes, but actually people that like work like at Gymshark, like in like the HQ around here. Just like when I came around this trip, I've just been nonstop, just like hanging out with like everyone. It's been years since I've seen them, and
everyone's chill.
Everyone's super chill and it's really fun.
It's enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd say for me personally, Gymshark's approach in terms of how they treat their athletes, like the stuff that Gymshark will do for the athletes is not stuff that every other brand will do. I think part of the reason that Gymshark can do that is because the athlete team isn't that big. There's maybe 100 athletes or so right now compared to other brands that have got thousands and thousands. So if you've got thousands and thousands of athletes, you can't really do as much for each of them, but with Gymshark there's a more personal touch to it, I would say. And I realised that from early on when I started working with the brand. And because they can be more selective, the people on the brand oftentimes think a similar way. They don't just select on who's got the biggest following, who's the most popping. It's also like who would mesh well with the brand, etc, etc. So that's why when I meet most, like 99% of Gymshark athletes, you get along well.
Well, here's one sincere question for me that I could ask to you. Throughout the entirety of, your weightlifting journey, has there ever been any hiccups along the road, some injuries, little setbacks, tweaks, anything like that? So
yeah.
Got any advice there for me?
Yeah, so when I was 16, I used to deadlift and not wear a belt. And you were asking me the other day, does my back ever round when I deadlifted? I had the opposite problem. I was too extended like that. I was like sticking my bum up too much when I was deadlifting. And basically not worrying about doing that and just lifting really heavy, I tweaked I think I actually ripped an intercostal muscle, the muscles in your ribs. I did it on both sides. I did it on one side once, and then when that injury actually happened, it hurt to breathe. For me, that's one of the worst sports injuries. Because bro, you use those muscles to breathe. So A, they never get a rest, B, it hurts to breathe. And then that healed, and then I injured the other one like a few months later. Then I was completely out of like main compounds like posterior loading, dead squats, deadlifts for like 7 months or so. And I was like from February 2019 until September. But then when I came back to deadlifting, I basically just took all that time off. Then I did like some light deadlifts and stuff. Then when I came back to deadlifting is like when my YouTube started to go up. And because I hadn't deadlifted for like 7 months, right, I made such fast progress that those were kind of my first like fake natty accusations. Well, because I went from like, my deadlift PR was like, I'm trying to do this in pounds, like 500. I went from it being like 485 to like 570 in like 6 weeks. So people were like, bro, this does not make sense. But it was just because I was injured for so long, came back and then just went crazy. So yeah.
That is an interesting thing. I kind of noticed a similar thing to kind of what you outlined in terms of like when you like take time off the deadlift per se, then when you like resume,
bro, it goes through the roof, bro. It's crazy.
I've always thought about that because I've experienced that as well. I feel like because deadlifting is such a full body taxing movement, and there's so many little joints, ligaments, little micro tears and soft tissue kind of throughout the body that kind of happens. Everyone gets like stressed out, not just like the muscle. And then like when all that stuff heals, it's just, I don't know, your body's stronger. Like all the biggest PRs I've ever hit, they've never been like during like training
a consistent
cycles.
block.
Yeah, it's just like when I've taken just like a huge amount of time off, just kind of came in one day, right, like stem combination, and wow, just like will come up. Yeah, literally.
Deadlift is the one exercise that you can take the most amount of time off and still be really good at it. Like if I took like genuinely 2 months of deadlifting, I can guarantee I'd probably be able to pull probably near 700. If I was training everything else. I feel like, because it's such a primal movement, you're literally just picking something off. It's not like, there is technical things to it, more so sumo, but of any of the big three, it is the most like, just pick it up, bro.
Especially after you've done it for so long. Your body's just like, it's like, walking, breathing, talking, deadlifting, it's just the instinctual primal.
That's what I'm saying,
do it and it happens right.
So as long as like the muscles involved don't atrophy heavily in that time, I can't really think of a reason why your deadlift would like go down significantly. What is your current situation?
Oh, with my injury?
Yeah, you explained a bit last video.
I mean, I guess I explained the last video, but without going into like a crazy amount of detail, I'm sure many people are familiar with like the concept of like a bulging disc when it comes to back injury, because like the whole spine consists of like vertebra, disc, so it's like bone, disc, like throughout the entire spine. And obviously when the spine's like, you know, flexed, like bent, and then it's under a lot of pressure, one of the discs will like pop out. That'll like usually like hit a nerve that goes down your leg, and then, you know, you have pain that radiates down. That's a really common one to get. I actually didn't get that one. I don't have any crazy disc bulges, anything like that. What I have is basically what they call a compression fracture. It's when the spine just gets just like smashed together. So like that bone disc, you know, superset all the way down the spine that I was like talking about. Imagine like the bone actually breaking through the middle of the disc, like from the top and bottom, right? So then you have like a big, massive like loss in disc height, and then yeah, it's just like a shit show. There's like bones sticking everywhere, shit's leaking out, nerves are screaming. It's just like scary situation.
That's so bad. So, what do you think caused? What was the main thing that caused that?
Well, there was one really acute incident, but outside of that, it was accumulation of basically putting more stress and wear and tear on my body and not allowing myself to like recover. Because I feel like to make optimal progress, it's like a balancing act between like stimulus and recovery, right? I like tipped over on that. I had way too much stimulus, not enough recovery. So slowly, because for example, like when you become stronger at a deadlift, right? When you go from like 200 kg to 300 kg, it's not just because your glutes, hamstrings, quads, and erectors get stronger.
Your actual like bones and ligaments and that stuff actually catch up as well, but that's slower.
Exactly. It's a very, very like slow process, but you know, when your muscles could like take a lot of load and, you know, progress really, really fast, and you don't allow like all the things that you just mentioned like catch up, then it becomes a shit show. But specifically what happened to me, I was doing this exercise called static hold. It's when you take like 200% of your squat max, just like 30 plates on each side, and you just unrack it and you just hold it there like a psychopath for just like minutes. Exactly. Why would any sane individual do that? It's just like begging for an injury. It's the stupidest thing ever.
Oh shit.
But yeah, so I was doing that, and then like 30 seconds in, I'm like, ow, like back hurts. I re-rack, and then my leg's just never been the same. That's kind of.
What was that?
I was probably like 17 years old.
Why did you do that, bro?
What made me do that? I think I just hated myself. I just wanted to injure, put 700 pounds in their back, and just want to die. I mean, there's just really nothing else to say. Like, if you have common sense and you just like you don't want to smash your spine, you just
basically if you don't want to spine,
it's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah.
But to be fair, like you were 17, I've done dumb things at 17 as well. So it's not, yeah. Do you think if that hadn't happened, you'd be uploading more on YouTube?
Probably yeah, I'd say so. I mean, it's hard to say, but yeah, I mean, I just feel like when I could train like consistently, just my like well-being just like goes up. So then not being able to train is just kind of like just a sadness.
Do you feel like you've been more like not feeling as good since you? Because it got when I couldn't deadlift, or not even just deadlift, but do many of the compounds for like 7 months. I mean, I wasn't great. I wasn't feeling, cause especially when you like, I had to change the way I slept as well, because when I sleep on one side, like the intercostal muscle was hurting, so I had to change the way I sleep, and then like I couldn't really play like football, basketball and stuff because it would have hurt. Like that stuff wasn't fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely feels that way. Like, it's not fun. For me, I'd say squatting specifically, I deeply, deeply, deeply enjoy deep squatting. Not to say deep 35 times, but I don't know, something about doing like a really heavy compound lift and just really stressing your body out.
Yes.
There's just this like satisfaction after your workout that you just can't quite get just doing quad extensions.
No, not even close.
It's just not the same. Just primally, you're just like.
It's that comparison, because the amount of stress on your body from a squat is nothing compared to like a set of leg extensions. So the relief when it's off your back and you're finished with the set, you can't compare to when the stress isn't as bad. Because like if you didn't eat for like 7 weeks and then I gave you a burger, that would be the best burger you ate of your entire life. Whereas like if you just ate and I give you something, it's not as much of a change. So I think that's it. Oh, here, good one. What career would you be doing if it wasn't fitness? Thank you, James, for asking this question.
I mean, off the top of my head, I mean, it's really hard to say, but because if I wasn't doing fitness, like, it could be so many different things. But like off the top of the head, like, something videography, video editing, photography, some creative domain. If you would have asked me that when I was like super young, I would have said maybe something like with like computers, coding, designing, that type of stuff. So it's probably some techie, like nerdy stuff.
That's probably hard to ask for me and you, because we started so young in the fitness industry that where people are like, people usually don't know what they want to do. Sometimes they're like 21 years old, but we were already like heavily in the fitness industry by the time we were like 17. So like you weren't really thinking of anything else at that point. I think that for me as well. Like for me to ask that question, I have to think back to when I was like 12. Like I wanted to be a lawyer. Like when I was 12, I wanted to be a lawyer. But then as soon as literally before I was even doing the fitness thing in the industry, as soon as I found out about like fitness, I wanted to do something to do with that. I don't know if I wanted to like either like train athletes, like be like the strength and conditioning coach for like a professional team or something. I don't know what, but just something related to that. Literally as soon as I found out about fitness.
Yeah, it was really interesting for me too, because before I got properly into fitness, before I was like 13 years old, I was like into editing videos. Like I played hockey decently well. I did magic tricks, and I was good at those things, and I had a lot of potential in those things. But it just didn't quite give me that like same spark. And it was such like when I caught that lifting bug, within a few weeks in, it was the most powerful, just overwhelming, peaceful, deep sense of just certainty, just like knowing like
I want to do this.
This is the path without any shadow of a doubt. And it was like, it was mind blowing to just be like so certain about something.
Yeah,
that I was just.
Bro, I feel the same because like I didn't even have a direct career. I wasn't even like I'd blown up in the industry and like I can see a direct career path. But as soon as I found out about fitness, working out something, I completely shifted. I want to do something with it. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know what it'd be, but something towards that. I think anyone who like properly got into fitness can relate to that feeling.
It's a wonderful feeling.
No, it is, and it's also quite vapid because it does actually go eventually. Oh, so this, I'm gonna alter the question. Do you enjoy, when you were like probably seriously lifting, do you enjoy the bodybuilding aspect or the powerlifting aspect more? Not necessarily straight powerlifting, but like going for PRs and etc.
Maybe you're talking, but I think the powerlifting more.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I enjoy just like having concrete benchmarks for progression.
Yeah.
Just like hitting like a PR and like a working weight or like a 1 rep max or just whatever it may be. Just accomplishing that, just massive dopamine hit. And then maybe I would have appreciated the bodybuilding more if it wasn't due to the fact that by the time I finished all my powerlifting movements, I was so exhausted that I kind of more or less
do like 2 sets of bicycles and get out of it.
I would just I would half-ass the bodybuilding and leave. It's more primarily satisfying to do powerlifting, and you have the whole like progression scheme on this versus like I just went to failure on my curls today. It's kind of like whatever, who cares? Yeah.
And I say that because bodybuilding is like probably the most subjective sport that you could say. And the powerlifting aspect adds a sense of objectivity to it. Like,
for sure.
I definitely progress now. Whereas, if I stand here and take a picture compared to stand there, like the lighting can add so much difference. Like, I feel like I lost size in like 5 minutes, and like can play with your mind.
That's another interesting thing I think about it. Like when I look at my physique in different types of lighting, it's almost like a different physique. I mean, it's still the same physique, but it can look so different. So I think, for like all bodybuilding competitions, is there like standardized lighting? I feel like
no, it's not. There's been different periods with better or worse lighting. Like if you look at all the shows in the 90s, they had the sickest lighting, like, and it's just common sense. Like, let's make the room dark and add down lighting, and all those guys look sick. Like bodybuilding shows now, the lighting sucks.
You just have like lasers.
Yeah, like or like a big light in the front just washing you out. Like you dieted for 12 weeks for no reason because now they can't see it. Because if I was doing a bodybuilding competition, I'd just be like, okay, make the room dark, add some down lights, simple. But it doesn't seem to happen. Alright, top 3 TV shows of all time.
True Detective is definitely up there for me. Not the whole series, just season 1. Just that one season of television is magical. Ooh, really like Game of Thrones. Bit of a cliche, but hey, it's a great show.
Bro, I actually just started that like a month ago, but I'm on season 6. I binged it.
That's most of the good part.
Yeah, bro, it's going downhill. Sorry, lads, we had some technical difficulties there. But you said
Breaking Bad.
Alright, that's a solid top 3. I would say Power.
Forgot about Power.
Power's so good, bro.
Good.
Power's so good.
Wow.
Power's so good.
Great.
That's probably my favourite show of all time, not gonna lie. Just because the protagonist, like James St. Patrick, like I just love that guy.
You just want to be him?
Yeah, you just want to be him, but then not him. Like feel like I could be him, but just like rectify all the bad stuff.
Did you see they did 2 spin-off shows?
Yeah. I watched all of Tariq's one, and I've started 4th with Tommy, but I mean it's alright.
Yeah, I saw a few of the Tariq ones. I mean, it doesn't compare to Power, but like, I saw, like, I think, all if not most of the first episode with the Tommy show. I just wasn't feeling the Tommy one.
And it's weird with that type of show because for me, one of my main reasons watching it was James St. Patrick. So now that they killed him, I was like, I delayed watching the Tariq's one for like 2 years because I was like, bro, he's not in it, I don't want to watch it. But then I actually watched it and it's actually still really good because the show as a whole is a very good concept. But yeah, so
whoever played James St. Patrick, so good.
Yeah, Omari Hardwick.
So
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good show.
Yeah. I really like Prison Break, but like season 1 and like season 3. Anytime they're actually breaking out of a prison is good. If they're not breaking out of a prison, it's terrible. Have you watched Prison Break?
Yeah, real good. I like it a lot.
Yeah. And then probably I'm gonna say Top Boy. Have you watched Top Boy?
I haven't. I heard it's like the UK Power.
Yeah, it is, but it's like a lot more grimier, like because you know when Power starts, James is like already on top. Mm-hmm. Top Boy is like them trying to get to the top, so it's a lot more down to earth, and also for me, it's a lot more relatable because I grew up in like a similar-ish area to like where Top Boy is set, so I can relate to a lot of different aspects of it. So that's why people like Top Boy because it feels like real. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Top Boy's up there as well. Honorable mention is Luke Cage. It only had 2 series, but I really liked it when I watched it. Have you watched any of the Marvel original, like the TV shows,
I
like
seen Marvel
Daredevil?
No, I've seen Daredevil.
Oh yeah,
that was a great one.
Daredevil was good. I didn't finish it though, but Daredevil was good. Iron Fist is alright as well. But yeah, I think we're gonna end it there, you know, guys. Very good talking to you, sir. I feel like I got to know you fairly well, and I feel like the viewers did as well. Yeah, we're gonna be doing, as I said, another campaign tomorrow, so I might vlog it, might not. I don't think I'll get that much time to actually vlog because we're actually gonna be doing it, so we'll see. But thank you for coming on the channel, bro. If you're ever in the UK again, shout me. If I'm ever in the US, likewise. But yeah, man, I'd love to have you back, and it's been good, bro. See you in a bit. Alright, guys, we're gonna end off. See you in a bit.